All right, so let's take a look at Allan and Denise's retirement plan, shall we? First thing, I gotta find my dog. Hold on a second. Pablo snuck away up to something crazy. So let's take a look at what we have for Allan and Denise. Let's go into profile here. There you go, buddy. All right, there we go. All right, and Pablo wants to be part of this conversation. All right, so Allan and Denise, their age, go to family. Allan's 55 years old. Denise is 53. They have a kid that lives with them and one that lives back east. So the kid that lives with them, they're still going to spend a little bit of money on state college for a couple more years. Okay, that was good. So their income, Allan makes 90. Let me move myself out of the way there. Allan makes 90,000 a year. Denise 50,000 a year. Allan's Social Security estimate is about 2,200 at 67. I'm just using that as an estimate because they said what it would be at 62, and so that's fine. But 62 doesn't tell me what it's going to be at 67. So because I want the PIA, so I'm assuming it's 2,200 bucks at his full retirement age, but I don't know that for sure. So in case they're watching this, which certainly they are, that's why I'm using 2,200 because we have to assume what your PIA is, your full retirement age benefit. And then for Denise, it's 1728 at her full retirement benefit. All right. All right, good. So we're just leaving this for the time being. All right, so now we're going to have goals. Allan wants to retire at 61, so that's what, 5-6 years from now. Denise at 62. All right, so the retirement expenses, they said between $3,500 and $3,800 a month, but I'm saying $3,500 a month because that $3,500 a month to $3,800 a month included a property tax, which we have someplace else. So we're just going to say about $3,500 a month is your expenses. What do they have for just? And then I'm using that same for pre-retirement living expenses. All right. So their healthcare cost once they retire, I'm saying they have about $8,000 a year between them until Medicare kicks in. No long-term care costs that they have; they'll self-insure. They have they're going to pay for kids' goal for college for a couple more years, and then they travel. They got their kid back east that they want to visit. I just said $10,000 a year. I don't know what it would be, probably less than that, but we're just going to use that. I mean, this is goals. We're throwing that in there, and we're going to say it starts at Allan retirement. It'll stop in 2040. They're going to have to pay for a kid's wedding at $15,000. That's what their goals are. Here's the interesting thing. They want to buy a lake, house, and a boat, a fishing boat. They didn't give me a price on that, so I'm just throwing a big fat number out there, $500,000, and I'm saying property tax probably more. Let's do $3,500 a year property tax there, and we'll say annual insurance. Oops, annual insurance will say $2,500 a year, just for simplicity. Let's say that. All right, so a couple things here. We're going to say they're going to put 10% down and finance the rest, all right? We're going to say that, and then we're also going to consider the idea of relocating to buy this house, and then considering the idea of keeping their current primary occupancy open, buying this house and mortgaging it, and then because they're thinking they could rent this out. So a couple things, we'll go back into that here in just a second. But again, the goal is they want to buy a lake house and a boat. And I'm just throwing them all in there. I have no idea what lake house and boats cost. I just saying $500,000 for both. We're going to finance it for over 30 years. Now, they're going to pay for it either by taking a mortgage or by selling this home that they're in right now and using the proceeds for that. So we're going to do one of two scenarios to see what comes out. I hope that makes sense. All right, so let's go to net worth. So they got about $600,000 in liquid assets, $40,000 sitting in cash. So basically $650,000 all said and done, which is good in liquid assets. Good amount of money in Roth, man. And they didn't really say how their stocks or their accounts are broken out. So I'm just saying that it's all invested in index funds or equity index funds. All right, so that's what we're saying here. So we'll say that they got Denise got a small IRA. Denise has a big Roth. They got a joint taxable account. Those are the shares they have. I literally have no idea what the cost basis is, so we're just using $100,000 for the whole portfolio. I don't know, but that's what we're saying. And then Alan's got a 401k at well, how much is that? About $2,000. So I think he just started. Yeah, he just started his 401k in March. All right, good. And then we're saving. I think we got it maxed out. Yeah, they're maxing out their Roths and they're maxing out the Allan's 401k. Okay. So net worth consists of, now they have this property right here. This is their primary occupants, their home. It's paid for. $858,000 is worth. Was obviously the property taxes in California quite low. Annual insurance is not very high, and then their homeowners insurance or their purchase price is $500,000. So they got a lot of equity built up in here, man. I mean, not a lot. There's a huge amount of equity, which is awesome. That's going to go a long way. Now he's a quarter property in this investment rental, and this was kind of confusing for me, but sounds like he's got Allan's got his brothers and sisters. They all own a quarter rental property, and I just took the current value of the entirety of the rental and I divided by 4 to get a current value of $85,000 because we're just using that current value for Allan and Denise. And I'm just putting 2% appreciation. I took their total property tax, divided that by 4, total homeowners insurance, and divide that by 4. Took their monthly rental income, divide that by 4, and their monthly maintenance and stuff. So basically, what I'm just saying is, look, I'm just using the numbers they gave me and divide by 4 because Allan's got a quarter value in it. So this is the only loan they have, which is on this. And I'm just saying $50,000 the original. I have no idea, but this is what we're saying. The only loan they got is on this rental. That they own a quarter of the value of. And so I'm just saying, look, of their quarter of the value is going to cost them $253 a month. I hope that makes sense. All right. They also have a thing in here for their mom's IRA. I'm not sure why they threw that in there. So I'm not using the mom's IRA because, I mean, if they don't own it, I mean, it might be inheritance or something like that. I don't know, but I'm not throwing that in there because it's not their asset. All right, so between the rental that they have and the primary home, they got almost $1 million in real estate, which is pretty good. All right, so let's see what we're looking at here. So what we're going to first do, let's go to retirement, and it's be interesting to see how this breaks out. They got, all right, so here, okay, good. What's the difference here? Bear with me just a second. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go down to New Orleans. You know I love you so. Baby, please don't go. All right, so let's just go to cash flows here. All right, so their income flows are going to fall when Allan turns 62. And Denise is going to work in, yeah, right there. Okay, good. So their income flow is going to stop. All right, so when Allan turns 62, he'll stop working, and then old Denise will work for a couple more years, and Allan will go on Medicare here. Okay, that's pretty good. And Social Security will kick in at 67 for Allan. Then Denise will add hers. Okay, that's pretty good there. All right, good. All right, so let's like that so far. Good boy, Pablo. Stay right there. You can. Oh, there goes Pablo. All right. Oh, but that's the one to get rid of. So I want to. Good boy, Pablo. Let's get rid of this relocation for the time being. Actually, let me hold on a second. We're gonna go back to cash flows. All right, so here they're selling when Denise retires. They're selling their primary residence and they're going to get $953,000. What they're going to get from it, or $944,000 is what they're going to get from it. And then they're going to turn around and buy this other house and boat, for $634,000. And if we go to accounts, there should be a pretty significant addition to their taxable accounts here. Yeah, right there. Okay, so that's a leftover. All right, so if they were to sell their house, obviously they could afford that lake house. And plan savings, so that's Allan putting Max out his 401k. We only got till then. They're maxing out the Roths. Why are we doing? Oh yeah, I guess Denise is maxing out her traditional IRA. Well, Allan's maxing out his Roth. All right. Yeah. All right. Denise's traditional IRA. Allan's doing his Roth. Yeah, okay. Not sure where they stop in 2000. Yeah, we don't want to do that. We want to do it until Allan retires. So let's go here. Profile. Savings. Yeah, Allan's retirement. Okay. Accounts. Additions to accounts. 61. I'm not sure why they're. We got no further contributions here. He's not retiring at 60, right? I thought he was retiring at 60. Oh, 61. Yeah, right. Wasn't that it? Yeah, okay, gotcha. All right, that makes sense. All right, okay. Talking to myself here. This is how we run the plans, man. I just literally think, got a music song in my head. And then, that's good. All right, so accounts. So basically, they're doing additions to accounts. Yeah, okay. Well, okay, there you go. So I'm not sure why we're not doing for the next year, but you be it as it may. That's fine. Then we got, does Gary, meow, 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 meow. Does Allan's income stop at right there? Okay. Oh, because he retires. Okay, I got it. Let's do it till 2027. We'll do the IRAs. Baby, please don't go. We're gonna do 2000 in savings until 2027 calendar year. All right, cool. Good. All right, so we're doing calendar year 2027. That should change the I should change things here a little bit. Let's see. All right, there we go. All right, cool. No, still not. Why is it doing that? Current? I gotta do current. Yeah, okay, there we go. Sweet. I was like, good night. Right? No, it's still not doing for 2000. Why is it not doing that? I don't understand why the money is not going into the IRA. It's not going to make a big difference. It's just odd to me. Let me pause this real quick. So I figured out it's very the software is very particular, especially when you go to goals retirement, and I just changed this from December 2026 to January 2027. It's literally 1 month, and I changed everything. So okay, so if we look to retirement, so if you run the software, folks, just sometimes it can be very particular. Just make sure you kind of change things around to see. In this case, it won't matter or anything, but just I was wondering why I can't make it. Literally, so watch this. I literally just changed that 1 month, and here you see it goes right there. So it's stopping in 2027. They're saying we're going to fund these accounts until 2027. That's where it stopped. So literally it means stopping in 2027. I mean no funding. We'll just go with that. That's fine. All right, good. So let's go to summary. So we got our goals here. We got the college for the next 2 years for kid 1 or kid 2, I guess. Wedding, again, that's adjusted for inflation. Once they hit retirement, they'll start going back east and they'll start taking vacations, about $10,000 a year in today's dollars, and they'll stop that when they're 75 for old Allan. Property purchase. So here's what's happening here. This is they're putting the. Actually, we need to. Yeah, that won't work. And when Allan turns 62, we gotta get rid of that one. Hold on just a second. We're gonna go to goals, and all right, so okay, that's their property purchase there. They're doing it at Allan's retirement. They're putting $50,000 into that. Yeah, that's what's going on here. Okay. So what we want to do now is we want to let's get rid of this guy. Okay, cool. There we go. All right, let me show you what I'm talking about. This is the better way to do it. Okay, let's go back. This will be good. All right, sweet. This is gonna look good. So what's happening here? Well, we'll see if it looks good or not. It drops it down a little bit, but I want to show you something. So we're gonna go to cash flows, and we're gonna go to goals, and we're like, what's this property purchase when Allan turns 62? Well, that property purchase is this right here. Is that lake, home, and boat, and they're putting 10% down on a $500,000 home. By then it'll be $560,000. So they're going to put $56,000 down, if that makes sense. All right, and they're going to carry a mortgage for the rest. So let's go to a net worth, and you're going to see they got primary home, and then investment properties, and watch this. And all of a sudden, right here, primary and vacation homes. So you got primary home is their where they live. Fast forward till Allan turns 62, and you got it'll go up by the equivalent of $560,000 at that time, because they're buying this lake home, but they're not selling or using anything from this current home that they're in, if that makes sense. So literally, they're just taking the mortgage payment. They're the mortgage, which I'll show you if we go to expenses. And so here you can see housing. Watch right here. Vacation home outflows is going to cost them $3,000 a month for a lake home and boat. And you can see right here they're borrowing where it's going to cost them $20,000 a year in interest, $9,000 in principal, property tax, homeowners insurance. So the total cost for that $500,000 debt is about $35,000 a year, which makes sense. Now, if you look, but their net worth is, I mean, my goodness, they still got their vacation home plus their primary residence, but nothing's happening from the primary residence. They aren't getting any value out of it. It's just sitting there. It's costing, but nothing. I mean, does that make sense? So they got this big fat mortgage, and they got that cash flow that's going out the door, but nothing coming in. Nothing's coming in at all. And even there, we run the retirement analysis, we're still freaking sitting pretty good. Now, not quite where I'd like to be, but that's not bad, man. Because they're basically spending $3,000 a month for $1.5 million of property. Well, one of those properties they can either liquidate or they can rent is kind of what they're thinking. So let's go to, I just want to see what the tax man looks like. It's probably going to be ugly. No, not bad at all. Okay, cool. That's not bad at all right there. In fact, we got a nice little gap there, which we want to fix for sure. Let's go to distributions here. Let's make sure we're pulling money out of tax. Okay, cool. So let's now go to retirement. So there's something hang in there with me, my friends. We're going to get to the bottom of this, and we're just go to this right here. Take it from the tax deferred accounts first and see what it looks like. That probably won't change much, I would think. All right, good. So let's go to tax here, and we'll make that proposed plan. This should look different, I would think. Actually, no, it shouldn't, because they have everything in a Roth. So they're already, look at that, man. Well, that's fantastic. So once they stop working, I mean, they got no taxes at all, hardly. That's fantastic. Because they don't have that much in deferred accounts. It's all in Roth IRAs and whatnot. Yeah, so we definitely want to go, so watch what I'm talking about. Yeah, we definitely want that. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's go to retirement. And we're going to go to cash flows. Baby, please don't go down to New Orleans. You know I love you so, baby. Please don't go. All right, so we're going to show you here. We want accounts. And we're going to go to withdrawals from accounts. And what you'll see here, this is the proposed plan. All right, so if we go to cash flows, let me move my big bug out of the way. If we go to cash flows, we'll see that when Gary would what's this guy's name? Jim? Allan, sorry. When Allan, we're just watching SpongeBob, that meow, Gary the cat, or Gary the anyway, when Allan retires, I don't know why I got Gary on my mind. When Allan retires, their income, and then Denise retires, their income flows are going to be nothing. All right, but that they still need significant income, $154,000, in which to pay for things. Their down payment on the lake house. They're gonna have to pay for expenses, living expenses, housing. They got expenses. They still got to make these expenses someplace. So where we're going to take it from is they're going to take it from their 401k that Allan's putting in. I mean, that's the way to do it. And then what's her name? Denise has a traditional IRA. So we definitely want the money to come from there. And so what you'll see here is when we're withdrawing the money, we're taking from the 401k and the traditional IRA, taken from these accounts, and then they'll be gone. There'll be no more. Those accounts will be gone, and now everything is in Roth and taxable accounts, which is pretty sweet actually. That's where you want it to be for sure. And if I can show you the reason it's in look, I see all this positive cash flow. So while Denise and Allan are still working, they're building all this positive cash flows. Well, that money is going someplace, and I'll show you where it's going. It's going to addition to accounts. I mean, they're adding all this to their taxable accounts, which is freaking awesome. So by the time they hit retirement, they have $765,000 in taxable accounts, $643,000 in Roth IRAs, just minimum amount in 401ks and whatnot, which is exactly what you want to do. So all I gotta say is they'd be nuts if right here they don't start pulling money from their 401k and IRA in which to pay for either the down payment on that lake house, or supplement their cash flow needs without question. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so we're going to do that for sure. That only makes sense. Now it looks like you're like, oh my goodness, there's a little bit less chance we're going to survive. No, we're fine, man. Look at that, 70% to 71%, and watch this at death. I mean, to leave some money to the kiddos, you want to leave them after-tax stuff. You don't want to leave them pre-tax stuff. So what we're going to do, we fast forward till the day old Denise dies. Everything, they're leaving $4.801 million in a Roth IRA on top of all that property, man. That's freaking awesome. So that's the only way to go. So once they retire and Denise no longer makes an income stream, right here, that's the time you start pulling money like a crazy man out of your IRAs and 401ks. Actually, you can even do it when it was just Denise working and Allan's no longer working right here too, if you want. And that's later down the road. All right. Now, that assumes that they're just paying out of pocket the cash flow for that mortgage. Is that the best way to do it? Well, let's go back and we're going to go to profile. So that means just they're carrying two properties and they're paying $3,000 a month. I mean, 71%, they're in pretty good shape. Don't get me wrong. I mean, let's look at this. I want to show you what I'm talking about. All right, so 71% of the time or 70% of the time they have money. So we go to confidence. And you see that dark blue vein? That's the median. Never, ever does it get anywhere lower than $1 million. Not even basically the lowest it ever gets is right here, 1.374 million. So I mean, even here is fine. I mean, the idea that they're going to be run out of money is nuts. Yes, at some point down in the future, 5% of the time, up to 5% of the time, they have no money, liquid assets. But at 5% of the time, up to 5% of the time, they have 8 million almost, if that makes sense. The median, 50% of the time is below, 50% of the time is above. It never gets below 1.39 million. And it's just not a big deal. Now, there is some time. I mean, look, they got 25, and when, I guess it was Gary, I keep calling Gary, when it's Allan, when he is 87 years old, 25% of the time, they don't have any liquidity left. But also 25% of the time they got 5 million. So that's a little bit dicey. But the median is they're sitting on a big amount of money. So that doesn't bother me in the least, not in the least. All right. So now if we go, so I mean, look, but that's still, you're like, look, there are some times they don't have any money. I mean, 30% of the time they ran out of liquid cash flow. That's a fact. All right, so you can see, we go up here. 30% of the time they have no money. 70% of the time they have a lot of money. All right, but now we go to net worth. If we go to cash flows and net worth, I mean, they never have no net worth. I mean, look, they got $5 million of net worth, my friends. So even when they run out of money, this isn't quite the best example, but they still have investment property, over $2 million of houses with hardly any mortgage anymore. It's just nuts. All right, so anyway, let me just go back to what I was talking about. So now let's go back to goals. They want to buy this lake home. All right. And so what we're going to do is we could even increase, have an income. We could say, we're just going to say rental income. And they think they could get, I think they said $3,500 a month on that. Oh, rents. I'm sorry. No, that's not. Wait, hold on a sec. They get. What did they say they could get? I thought they said they could get. They could get. Bear me just a second. I thought they said they could get $3,500 a month on their. Right here, yep. It set a rent for $3,500 a month. Okay, so they could rent that house. So a couple things going on. They could sell the house and just move into the lake home. Absolutely, that's a no-brainer. They can easily do that. And how we know this, we can do like this. Look, man, we're gonna do. We're gonna go to goals. We'll just get rid of this. Can I do it right here? Yeah, so we can just do 100% down payment, and we're gonna sell the other house. All right. So watch this. Boink, and we're gonna go to. And when are we doing that? When? What's his name? Allan turns. Allan's retirement. Okay, so now what we do is we say, okay, let's go ahead and there we go. Relocation. Primary home relocation. It's going to go to stay in California. All right, and we're going to do it at Allan's retirement. They're going to buy a home. Let's just, I tell you what, we'll do is we'll go purchase price $500,000 today's dollars. Appreciation, we'll say 3%. Annual insurance, we'll say $3,500. We'll say property tax $5,000 just for giggles. And we're going to put 100% down, excuse me. And there won't be anything there. So what we'll do here, that looks pretty good. Yeah, good. Buy lake home with boat. All right, so we can sell the house. What we have to do is we got to get rid of this guy right here. Boink. All right, so what we can do here is we can say, okay, we're going to buy a lake home with boat. Let's sell the house. Now they're going to be fine because they're basically taking all that cash. I was like, poof. They're going to pay for the house. Yeah, look at that. So if they sell, if they sell that house, it's no longer a dead asset because they're taking all that cash and they're using it to buy the house, which means they no longer have that $33,000 a month payment for the lake house. And on top of that, they were able to get all this equity out and cash it out, essentially, that home, which is now going to be invested, growing at how we have them invested, by the way. 100% stocks. All right, so they're getting 7.5% rate of return. So, you can sit there and say, that's not a bad deal. If we go to cash flows, you could easily do that. And you'll see you're going to have this big influx of taxable money here. We're going to go to additions to accounts right here. That's when they sell the house. Additions to accounts. And so, they're making all this money, adding to the taxable account. And then in 2027, they get $1 million in the taxable account. It's just growing at 7.5% cliff with all kinds of deviation there because of the volatility, but still. That's just growing and growing and growing. Look at the cash flows, man. Look at the summary. They have all this surplus. Let me show you what I'm talking about right here. So they got net flows. Then they go into deficits because Gary's no longer working. Then they go to bigger deficits when Denise stops working, and then you can see it just goes deficits, but they had all this money sitting, I'm sure I'm talking about. They have all this money sitting in cash to begin with to be able to cover that easily. Because they're only making, it's this much from Social Security. That's the only income they got. But they have other inflows. That's a small rental property. They got total inflows. They got expenses. These expenses, again, healthcare, housing. Housing is going to be what? Housing is going to be property tax and homeowners insurance. So we're saying the housing is not cheap, that's for sure. But there's no mortgage principal, no interest at all. All right, so now they got housing. They got the rental outflows because they got to pay for that. And that'll go away at some point when the mortgage is paid. I mean, they're still going to have to pay property tax and whatnot. But anyway, so their total expenses are more than their income is coming in. But because they've liquidated that home, that property they're living in now, they can easily afford it. Because, I mean, I'll just show you. They got ending balance by accounts. Here's their taxable account. They got $1 million. So they're going to pull money from this account. Watch, the $1 million is down to 1.9, 2 point, because it's still growing more than the rates of the rates of return on their investments are growing more than the distributions that they need. So let's just do 2036. Well, let's not use that. Let's do 2033. They got 1.5 million in that account. 2033. All right, they have 1.5 million. 2033. They need $79,000 to come out to pay for everything they need. 79 divided by 1.5. That's a 5.2% distribution. That's not a big deal at all, man. That's easy. That's easy peasy. Now, let's go back to retirement. Oops. And we're going to show the confidence, because remember, we don't want to just use linear. We want to use variable rates of return. Look at this, man. I mean, never ever do they get anywhere near zero, ever. The lowest they ever get was 688, 601, and that's when Denise died. That's the lowest they ever get. And that's at 601 with just a 5% likelihood. So let's say we make it a little bit less aggressive. Let's do a moderate as opposed to aggressive portfolio, and we'll see what that looks like. That's going to look worse, I imagine. Not much worse. Actually, I'm not sure. No, look at that. Actually increases it. Now, you lose a lot of money from leaving money to the kids because you're only getting, what are we getting on a moderate portfolio? On a moderate portfolio, you're only getting 5%. So yeah, you're basically getting a 33% less on both returns and the standard deviations. So you're not getting as much in terms of the upside, but you're not getting as much on the downside either. So that means your probability of success jumps from 99 to 100, but your amount that you're leaving to the kiddos drops significantly by about $3.5 million there. Now look, that's in future dollars. Don't like, $3.5 million. That's a lot of money, but in terms of today's dollars, you'll see the difference here. It won't be quite as much. I mean, it's 1.5 in today's dollars. So you could do that easy. All right, so that's if they sell the house. Well, what if they don't sell the house? What if they just rent it as like they, like Allan was saying? So now we're going to say relocation, and they're going to put 10% down. All right. And they're going to do a 30-year term at, we'll just say 4% interest rate. That looks good. All right. Now, though, they're going to get income from renting their current home. And we're just going to say other. We're going to say other income. We're going to say home rent. And what did he say? You got $2,400 a month? Is that what he said? Okay. Oh, he said $3,500 a month. And let's just say $3,000. So we'll say $36,000 a year home rent, and it's going to be we'll just say interest income. We don't want let's say retirement to end up both plans. So we're just going to use that. And we're going to say 2% annual increase. We're going to make it interest because interest comes as ordinary income. We're not even going to have them depreciate or anything. They're just going to say it like that. So now what they're doing is instead of selling the house that they're in, they're renting it instead, generating $3,000 a month. And then they're going to turn around and take a debt to buy the lake home. And let's see what that looks like. I mean, all this is the fact they got no mortgage. I mean, they can do all kinds of different things here. Yeah, that looked great. So here you can see the difference. That's probably the best bet. Actually, I'm not sure that's the best bet. But you can see if they do a moderate portfolio with the remaining stuff they have in stocks, they're not running out of money, and they got about $4.5 million to leave. And if they do an aggressive portfolio, they're not running out of money, and they're leaving $9 million. Lots of good stuff for them to do. What would be my suggestions? I mean, this is the thing. It's like when you have no debt, man, you can just do all kinds of stuff. So for them to buy, what else do they say? I guess that's pretty much it. Yeah, they're in a good place. They're in a good place. You can do all kinds. If you have no debt and you got that kind of equity, you can take a reverse mortgage. You can sell the house. You can rent it. You can do all that stuff. Once you have all that money, and then because you're not spending that much, you're going to have a big amount in savings that you could even use that to pay for a house outright. I'd be careful on that because you still need the cash flow, because you're only going to have Social Security. There's no pension here. You're only going to have Social Security and your investments. So you got to be careful, overspending on a home without getting the equity out of the home somehow, either taking a mortgage on it or renting it out. Because you want to be careful you don't get stuck with a lake home, a boat that's cost $3,000 a month, and then your other home that you're not really using that much, that's not costing anything other than property tax and insurance, but it's still maintenance, and it's not generating any cash flow. You just got to be careful there. But they look pretty good, man. I was actually somewhat surprised to see how well they look. And then on taxes, you guys are kicking butts because you got everything in Roth IRAs and taxable accounts. That's the benefit of having Roth and taxable accounts. Your tax rate's minimal at best. And everyone's like, well, California just not that big of a deal. I mean, just watch. Look, I don't like California. I'm not a big fan of it. But from an income tax perspective, look at that. 3.9%, man. That's no big deal. And that's just if you rent the property, because you're being taxed on renting the property. If you sold the thing outright, there's hardly any state income taxes. The feds are always a concern. Anyway, hope this helps. Thoughts, questions, comments, put them down below. We'll see you guys.